to another edition of VAFA Tragics. Great to have your company for another week. We've got a huge show coming up for you tonight, including some very special guests from some of the women's grand final premierships that took place on the weekend. Tash Rapos from St Mary's Salesian and Rhiannon Green from Old Campbell will be joining us at the desk, which is great news. And I've almost got the desk to myself. I've managed to knock off Brenton Mann. Nick Armstead, you're hanging around though.
I am. It's Manny's second week in a row that he's let us down. Third for the year. He's turning into a bit of an Andrew Leonard, I reckon.
What's that supposed to mean?
It's not his number one priority anymore, mate.
Tragics is always my priority. I can't help it if I had to be overseas for a couple of weeks and a business trip took me up to the snow. Not sure what Manny's excuse is. Probably he's got man flu regularly, doesn't he?
Yeah, real subpar unit with that.
We turn our attention first, of course, to the news from Whitefriars College on the weekend. A Division 1 reserves match between Oakley Crushers, thank you, and Whitefriars up at the college there. Andrew Crothers, who's in his early 40s, stepped up, Nick, to play in the reserves so they could get a full game against Whitefriars in the morning, the reserves match. He's in his early 40s, hasn't played for the club for a number of years. The poor guy suffered a heart attack on the field.
He has. 15 minutes into the first quarter, he suffered a heart attack, and I think the most incredible thing that's come out of this is that he was clinically dead 4 times.
Unbelievable.
And outstanding from the trainers, it was John Bromley and Grace Corcoran from Whitefriars to revive him all 4 times until the ambulance rocked up 9 minutes later.
9 minutes of just wondering if what's going on. The game was called off at that point. The reserves game was called off. The senior teams were both asked if they would like to play their game. They decided to do so. A close game was taking place between the two sides, but unbelievable for Andrew Crothers. And I love his response, Nick, which you've got there when he was revived and in the ambulance. What's he gone with?
Yeah, the paramedics have asked him how he's feeling, and he's just come out with, "I could do with a bourbon." So he clearly hadn't lost his sense of humour, despite the fact that he'd clinically died 4 times.
We wanted to check with the VAFA to see what they had to say about this, and particularly with the case of defibrillators, which was used to help revive Andrew a couple of times. We checked in with Brian Goodman to ask what he had to say.
So they finished up reviving him about 4 times, and while all this had happened, there was an ambulance called. They went to the games at Whitefriars and went to get a defibrillator, and unfortunately they found the defibrillator had run out of battery, hadn't been charged. And it's a real message for a lot of clubs in that it's all very well to have a defibrillator on the wall, but if it's not fully charged, then it becomes useless. And therefore, in this case, that was a bit of a problem. He's actually got a couple of busted ribs where the trainer's been working on him. But if that's the worst outcome, because after a heart attack, then he's doing okay. So he's now in Box Hill Hospital. They've discovered he's got some blockages in the heart. He's going to have some surgery, probably some stents put in. But he's survived, and his parents are with him and at the hospital yesterday. And congratulations to both Oakley and Whitefriars and the way it was handled and what they did within their capacity. And the reserve game didn't go ahead for the rest of the match after that.
Interesting. It raised an interesting point there, Nick, what Benny had to say, particularly with regards to the first defibrillator they went to wasn't working, and luckily the principal of the school was there, and he ran back up to inside the school to go and get the defibrillator to help save Andrew's life.
It brings into question defibrillators at clubs, and especially with finals coming up, it's important that every single club has it on hand.
Absolutely. Let's turn our attention to the footy in William Buck Premier on the weekend. Old Trinity got their first win in 10 weeks. It was an unbelievable performance from them. They were challenged late in the final quarter as Zavs charged back into contention. Zavs actually started the game the better side of the two. They kicked out to a 2-goal lead, but probably didn't put their dominance in play on the scoreboard. Trinity worked their way back into the contest, established a lead. Zavs responded at the start of the last quarter, and you thought, given what Trinity have done in recent weeks, that they might get overrun late in the game. Jake Walsh kicked a tumbling goal, which you'll see here on the screen. It was a great goal, but Seb Nicolosi was the star on the day, kicked a goal in every single quarter, a couple of brilliant snaps early in the contest as well. It was a fantastic performance from Old Trinity. Great reward for those guys that have been worried about when their next win's going to come. They've just forgotten how to win, which we'd said it on this show a number of times, but I think they might hang on.
You think they will?
I think they will. I'd written them off 2 weeks ago. I think they might hang on.
You had. And it was a great for Luke Piccioni, and Brendan Yeti to get their first ever win as coaches of that club.
Yeah, and we spoke to Brendan after the game on NRFM, and he said it's all Luke who's the coach. Brendan's just a figurehead. So congratulations to Luke and Brendan and all of the guys at Old Trinity. Great to see them get a win on there. Other results in Premier section are interesting. Of course, if D-Lard managed to beat Collegians on the day, the Final Four would have been set. They just couldn't quite get there in the end, which was strange. They led most of the day, and Collegians' strength in the final quarter got them over the line, which leaves it open. Still 2 games to go. Only 6 points of difference between OMs and Old Zavs, both chasing that 4th spot now.
Yeah, OMs are probably the one I think that could potentially make it. I've been on the Zavs bandwagon all year, but OMs are the ones that have been solid throughout the year, and when they get going, like against St. Bede's Mentone Tigers on the weekend with a massive 70-point win, they really get going. So if D-Lar have got a tough 2 games remaining, if OMs can pinch both of their games, they're going to be set for a top 4 finish.
You touched on St. Bede's Mentone. They're not out of the woods yet in terms of getting another year in William Buck Premier section. They lose their last 2 games, and a couple of sides below them, Trinity or Blacks, or even by Morris now, who are still in contention to get out of the bottom 2. St. Bede's could be finding themselves back in Premier V.
Well, from all those bottom 4 teams, Bo Morris are actually probably the form team at the moment. They've won 2 of their past 3. They had a draw 3 or 4 weeks ago. So they're actually probably in better form than everyone else, but least likely to be saved from relegation given their percentage.
Blacks couldn't quite do it on the weekend. They headed Bo Morris late in the game, got ahead, and then the Sharks were able to respond and get a vital win for them. It's all still to play for.
It's exciting. It really is exciting.
We drop down to Premier C quickly now, and old Haileybury's form has dropped away in recent weeks. They lost again on the weekend, which is concerning. Williamstown had a good win, though, to jump back into the 4 at the expense of Old Geelong, who, again, they just fell 10 points short as well.
Yeah, disappointing for Old Geelong because they're in really good form, and to lose to Caulfield by 10 points is a pretty good effort, given Caulfield are far and away the best team in Premier C. So to fall out of the 4, that's pretty tough for them, but Hampton Rovers are the one that are in form at the moment. They're doing everything that they possibly can to avoid relegation. They've now won 2 in a row, and they're only 1 game inside the relegation zone.
Yeah, it's watch this space again in Premier C. So all still to play for in the last couple of weeks of those sections there. Nick, we've got some special news and announcements now to take place. Club 18, best and fairest announcements, breaking ground on the Tragics as we always like to do. Yeah. You've got the results of the club competition best and fairest in Club 18.
Yeah, absolutely. And so obviously the Club 18 best and fairest is always announced on the Club 18 Grand Final day, which is this Sunday. But we've decided to change it up this year to this award-winning production that is the VAFA Tragics. And so in Club 18-1, for the 2nd year in a row, John Farrer from the Hawthorn Spartans has taken out the best and fairest on 23 votes. He was struggling halfway through the year with just 4 votes after the first 6 rounds, but he got 4 best ons in the last 8 games and came home with it and won by 10 votes in the end from Nick Guin from Peran Assumption and Robert Nolan from Richmond Central. I have spoken with John, and here's what he had to say about his 2nd consecutive best and fairest.
It feels good. I mean, obviously, it's a great individual accolade, but obviously, more importantly, it would have been great to win, go through to a flag and win it with the teammates. But yeah, look, it's good. It's a good recognition of the effort and the amount of off-season work that I've done. So it is good, exciting, but at the same time, bittersweet, I guess. Had a couple of injuries early on in the season, so I think I missed about 3 of the first 5 rounds. So I think the injuries obviously played a factor in my ability there, and also probably not coming back as fit after a solid off season. So just as the year went on, I think my fitness started improving, so I was able to get more into the games again, I guess. Obviously, thanks to the leading VAFA, I mean, they put on a pretty good. They've done a really good job with the Club 18's fixtures this year. Obviously, two different levels of it, so it's been really good. And thanks to them for all their support. And yeah, obviously to the club, thanks for them for supporting me as well. And all the fans for getting down there and watching us play every week. And hopefully we'll be back next year for a premiership.
Great stuff by John there. And now if we move on to Club 18-2, we've also got something that happened last year. Michael Chapman from Monash Blues. Back-to-back for both Club 18s. Unbelievable scenes. He's won it on 15 votes for, as I said, the 2nd year in a row from Matt Malliott from UHSVU, and Cam Liston, the big ruckman from Box Hill North, came equal 3rd with Adam Kinneberg from Chadstone. So congratulations to all of them. And I also spoke with Michael about his 2nd consecutive best and fairest, and here's what he had to say.
You kidding me?
I kid you not.
Jeez, my brother won't be happy with that. I actually thought someone from another team might have got it this year. So no, it was pretty unexpected. I didn't think I had as good a year as last year, but I don't know, I guess the umpires liked me. And I'd just like to thank all the supporters and the volunteers especially who help us get out there and have a kick every weekend. I know they don't always get the praise they deserve, and in fact quite often the opposite, they get abuse they don't deserve. So thanks to the umpires for enabling us to play, and also to all my teammates and staff at Monash as well.
Brilliant stuff. Great to be able to break some ground on the Tragics and announce those awards. We will take a break. We'll come back. We're going to have the girls at the desk right after this. We're going to talk VAFA Women's Grand Finals. Back with more in a moment.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. As I mentioned before the break, great to have the company of both Rhiannon Green from Old Camberwell and Tash Raffles from St Mary's Salesian. Premiership winners, got your medals. Great to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Not only have you got Premiership medals, you got Best on Ground medals as well.
Yeah, it's didn't, I guess, pretty amazing experience to achieve that, and we played hard and paid off.
Did you expect it? You guys were far and away, Camberwell, the best side all year in Division 2.
Yep.
Were you expecting it going in, or were you just playing it?
No, we were, we play every game as if, we've never played the team before, and even at halftime, we were up by 30-something points, I think, but we just said we start from zero and we keep playing as hard as we did in the first quarter, so... No, you never know with Old Kerry, they came from 6th or 7th on the ladder into the grand final, and they're a very, very physical team, and we knew that, we had to make sure that we had quick hands, and we try and beat them on speed in order to come away with the win, and we achieved that.
What did you celebrate harder? Now have a look at this, Lenny. I don't know if you've seen this yet, but Alois Stefano put it through a beautiful left foot off the ground here in the third quarter, only to be outdone by her teammate Rhiannon Green, who's done a bit of a shake and bake, just left 2 Old Kerry players in their wake and put it through from the pocket. So what was better, the actual win, the celebrations post-game, whatever, or the celebrations for that goal, which was, I'm assuming, your best for the year?
I've done a couple like that.
Never assumed.
Yeah, obviously.
But no, all the above, the celebrations, the aftermath, that goal in particular felt amazing. On the run there.
Is that when you knew you had it won?
I think so. Yeah. Well, especially because I kicked one before that, then Elle, then me again. We got a pretty good lead, and I was feeling pretty confident then.
Tash, over to you. Much closer contest.
Oh, yeah.
How were you on? You were saying just off air before, you didn't think you'd actually won it.
No.
Only 1 point win.
Yeah, when the siren went, I actually thought we were down 6 points or 7 points, and I just fell to my knees in complete despair. And I heard my teammates' celebrations, like, this doesn't sound right. And I looked up and a sea of yellow just came over, and it was the most exhilarating feeling. It was such a roller coaster within a good 20 seconds. And our celebrations, I'm not sure if you can hear my voice.
Yeah, we've got you coming through, yep.
They were very, very heavy.
Yep.
Very hard. That sounds so bad.
Well, we've got some footage here. So it was obviously the women's team who won on the weekend, and you guys were celebrating hard, I think, at the Tower Hotel in Hawthorn. Yeah. And you see someone naturally at the end of a big day after a grand final gets up on the table and starts leading the team song. So you'd think, Lenny, you'd think it was one of the boys. One of the girls, sorry. But in fact, it was just that one of the boys, our very own Mitch Obtugas, got up with the Premiership Cup and started singing the chant, which you all did get into. But how many of the girls actually knew who he was?
I'd say about 30%.
What were you thinking?
Oh, I knew who he was, but a lot of the girls haven't been around the boys' club that much, and it was just really great to have everyone together, and it was a lot of fun. But for me, thinking I was quite inebriated already at that time, I was chanting along to it, probably in the video somewhere.
So Tash, you played a flag before at Eastern Devils, you're saying, which is a great moment, and then you weren't really necessarily going to play footy this year. And tell us just about that experience coming down to St Mary's.
Well, I just come back from travelling, and one of my best friends said, "Oh, you should come around the corner to training just for some fitness." And so I came down for a few trainings, absolutely loved it. And our coach, Damo, said, "Oh, we're a bit short for one of the practice matches. Did you want to come down and fill in?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not? I'm a top bloke, I'll come down." So I rocked up to the practice match, and he was rolling out about 12 people off our bench, and they were not short at all. But got absolutely hooked, and the rest is history.
So you love the environment, and I suppose capping off with the flag, we'll see you back next year?
Absolutely amazing. I'd love to come back. It's a really great atmosphere to be part of.
Fair enough. Did you stick around and watch the Premier Section Grand Final, or did you or you said in the midst of still celebrating in the rooms at that
I
stage?
think we were drinking beers from the cup.
Fair enough.
Definitely we were drinking beers from the cup.
Any stories you can share about the celebrations at all on the Saturday night around?
Our leading goal kicker, El Defina, was in fine form. Chinese karaoke, she got a bit confident up on the table and smacked down all on the food and back on the ground, and then got back up and had a bit more of a boogie. So, yeah.
You rolled into a Sunday as well. Did you go and watch any of the grand finals on the Sunday, or were you still just in party mode at that point?
Oh, yeah, no, that was Sunday. That was Silly Sunday.
That
started in the morning and ended last night, and unfortunately
take the
we
day
didn't
off?
get to watch your superstar efforts, but we heard all about it. And
Did we go to work today at all?
oh no.
In terms of your year and how you came to the club, tell us about the formation of Old Camberwell as a club for you.
Well, I just got introduced by one of the senior players. Didn't know any of the girls there, but as soon as I got there, they were very welcoming, very supportive and encouraging, and it's just been an incredible journey. I never thought that I would enjoy playing football as much as I have. Like, literally, you get bruised and battered week in, week out, and you just keep wanting to play because you have such a great group of girls and our coaches as well. The commitment, the drive that everyone has is essentially the reason why we won the grand final.
Were you able to enjoy yourself last Monday night when you received your Best and Fairest award, knowing that you had a big grand final coming up on the weekend?
Yeah. Obviously it would have been nice to have a drink, but no, I stayed sober and enjoyed all the celebrations of everyone. So it was a fabulous experience. The Monday night was really well run and really well put together. So credit to you guys. But yeah,
We'll take that.
High fives.
Yeah.
We better have a look at the other grand finals. William Buck Premier Grand Final yesterday afternoon at Sports Cover Arena. Marsland, fair to say, upset the Scob Saints?
No, absolutely they did. I mean, Scob had not lost a game throughout the regular season since the Premier section was formed, and they capped off a sensational debut season with a big win, a 7-point win, which was actually the biggest of the day because we had a 2-1 as well. So the She-Eagles were unrelenting in the first term and kicked 2 unanswered goals to take a 15-point lead into the first break before holding off the minor premiers as they gradually kicked closer over the course of the match. Tessa Zagantinos from the Big V side, also a She-Eagle. She started with 2 goals, which were really the sealers, and best on ground was Laura Robertson, who was fantastic for the She-Eagles. So Anytime Fitness rising star Sarah Cameron, who we obviously love, fought valiantly up forward all day despite being constantly peppered by She-Eagles defenders. I think that's the type of harassment that we've seen in the Scob men's side all year on the ball carrier, so she wasn't as effective as she has been, but Georgie Lupson was very good, and Scarlett Donnell, the captain of Scob, was also excellent.
Congratulations to the She-Eagles, a great result, getting the upset in the William Buck Premier Grand Final. Mazenod claimed the premiership, possibly in controversial circumstances, Nick, over Old Mentonians by 2 points.
They did, so it was another tight match, so as you said, the 2 points, but Eliza Powerlet put the Panthers in front with 9 minutes into the fourth quarter. They fought it out for a bit, but obviously, as you can see, with 2 minutes remaining, Julia Bortoli kicked the winning goal via this kicking in danger decision. Now, technically, it's there. Technically,
It's not a free kick.
Technically, Julia had put her hand down first, so she's the one that needs to be looked after before the leg had started coming through.
Let's go to the girls on the panel. What do we think? We think we've seen the vision. What do you think, it's a free kick or not?
In my opinion, that they were paying that all day during our game. So, it was.
Are you comfortable with it being paid though, or are you
It was
frustrated?
It looked pretty like a pretty weak call, but technically, yeah, if if the umpires are going to continually call it, then you need to pay it.
Tash, got a view?
Well, I think if I was on the team that got it called for, I would agree with it. If I was on the other team, I would disagree.
As you would.
Beautifully said. I don't think it's a free kick, Nick. I don't like to see it paid.
It's probably, with 2 minutes remaining in grand final, maybe put your whistle away, but technically if it's there, you can't really argue, I don't think.
Great win to Mazenod nonetheless, beating Old Man Tony, as the Panthers would be a bit disappointed, unfortunately, that result. Earlier in the day, Hawthorn on the Saturday claimed the premiership against Scob Saints at Trevor Barker Oval by 17 points. So Scobs have had 2 teams in grand finals and weren't able to claim either one, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately for Scob. Hawthorn were probably the favourites going into this one, though. They finished as minor premiers and they were the best team in Division 4 all year. Penny Brown was fantastic. Like Rhiannon, she followed up her competition best and fairest with the best on ground performance, including this absolute stunning right foot snap in the second quarter. And interesting, we hear a lot about in the men's as well. We love the stories of playing under duress. Alana Sarek, the ruckman for Hawthorn, she broke her finger in the second quarter and played out the remainder of the match. No one knew, and she played a fantastic role.
Yeah, congratulations, and great considering the year the Hawthorn club has had in general as well, for them to pinch a flag as well in the VAFA Women's. We've mentioned your results. What now? What do you do? How do you fulfil the void of not having footy to play?
I'm pretty sure we're starting pre-season very
Next week?
soon. Pretty much, basically. No, I still need about a month to recover from celebrations and being bruised and battered. I feel like you might be the same.
Yeah,
Bodies are definitely...
What do you do over the off-season? Any other sports?
Yeah, I started Super Sevens last summer. We'll do that again this summer. Represent the Mighty Stringers.
Very good. Footy trips planned? Have we got footy trips lined up?
Actually, yes, I'm organising the St Mary's one. We have over 60 girls signed up and paid for. We're heading down to Lorne in October, and it will be a pretty good
so you don't mingle with the boys' footy trip, they're separate?
Yes, completely separate. We've got
Well, we've asked it before on this. We asked it before with Anthony Lynch from St Kevin's. Are there any mingling in between the men's and women's players from both sides?
As in dating?
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of the girls came down because of their boyfriends. So, yes, there's a few people that are dating.
Anything formed since?
No, not that I'm aware of, actually. Not.
What about down at Camberwell?
Yeah, so footy trip is combined for the seniors, reserves and girls team. They're doing a nice weekend away in Adelaide in October. I can't go, but I'm sure there'll be some good stories held there. In terms of relationships, I think there's a few hookups, but I don't think actually anyone's dating. Yeah.
So what we like about you and the girls, not prepared to throw anyone under the bus.
Ever.
Whereas Plugger 2 weeks ago on the show, he was straight out, throwing teammates under the bus. It was great
Boys
stuff.
are more than happy to do it.
Absolutely.
I'll be thrown under as well. There's a lot more on me, I'm sure.
Girls, congratulations. It's been
Thank you
fantastic
so much.
having you coming into the studio, particularly under duress of the celebrations that you've obviously been having over the last few days.
Beautiful. Thank you for having us, guys.
Yeah, thank you
Been a pleasure.
guys. It's been amazing.
Rhiannon Green from Old Camberwell and Tash Rappos from St Mary's Salesian joining us. So we'll be back with more Tragics to wrap up right after this.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. Great to have both Tash Rappos and Rhiannon Green on from St Mary's Salesian and Old Camberwell celebrating flags. You can understand last Monday night for the VAFA Women's Best and Fairest Awards night for the William Buck Premier voting and also the Best and Fairest medals. You were out celebrating as well in your own way.
I was celebrating. I thought after a hard day's, week's worth, I'd go out with some of the girls, and unlike the girls, I'm going to throw someone under the bus. The Wellers were out partying very hard, but as we know, they went on to win the premiership, so well done to them.
It just shows in VAFA footy you can celebrate on a Monday and win a flag on a Saturday.
Great
Great result for the Wellers. We've got some footage to finish off the show tonight. I'm not sure what it has in it, but you better tell us about it.
No, as you know, I was on the red carpet and roaming the floor, talking to all the players, and I had a couple of questions for them regarding the Tragics. And just lastly, do you tune in to the VAFA Tragics?
No, I don't know what that is.
Who's your favourite? Well, you can't really have a favourite Tragic, can you? But if you did have a favourite, there's Andrew, Brenton and Nick. Who would be your favourite Tragic?
Nick.
She's alright. You don't have to watch it, that's cool. Do you tune into the VAFA Tragics?
I do, sometimes.
Yeah, you don't need to do it all the time, that's fine. But do you have a favourite panellist?
Favourite panel? I've seen you on there a couple of times.
So is that me?
I think I have to say that right now.
2 from 2, guys. I'm liking that. Do you tune into the VAFA Tragics?
Every day of my life.
Once a week would have been nice, but do you have
Once a week as well.
Do you have a favourite panellist?
Apart from me?
No, I'm included. It can be me.
Okay, yeah, it's you.
That was like extracting teeth. Do you tune into the VAFA Tragics?
I do tune into the VAFA Tragics. I hear they're award winning. Is that right?
They are. You heard right. You heard right. Now, do you have a favourite panellist?
I think my favourite panellist has got to be Nick Armstead.
I'll take that. That was close enough. Now, Mara, do you tune into the VAFA Tragics?
Oh, I don't watch all of them, but I have. I have watched a few.
Okay, so you've seen that we've got 3 panellists. Who is your favourite?
Oh, come on, mate. It has to be you. I couldn't say not him.
Lenny, Manny, they don't seem to be at anything tonight.
No, haven't seen them yet.
Yeah, rubbish panellists.
Go, Nick.
Do you watch the VAFA Tragics?
I do, yes.
And who is your favourite panellist?
Well,
Awkward silence.
Brendan Mann.
His name's Brenton, so that's how much he likes him. Thanks for joining us, Cam.
Thanks, mate.